You're watching Oilers Nation Everyday with Tyler Yaremchuk. Your one-stop shop for all things Oilers.
Pickard. Please, Pickard, be good. Please, Pickard, be good. Let's get into it with the lead. The Calvin Pickard era starts now, gentlemen.
Woo! What a time to be alive.
Who would have thought? Welcome to, I don't know. If you would have told, actually, it's not that insane. If you would have told me in September, hey, Calvin Pickard's going to be starting a game against Florida, I probably would have been like, oh my God, someone's hurt. God, we ran into some injury issues. Yeah. If you would have told Edmonton hockey fans on November 20th, or at the start of the season, that on November 20th, there'd be no snow on the ground, they'd be like, whoa. And the Oilers are second last in the West. Ah, damn it. I actually don't know this. Yeah. Tell myself looking at saying, God damn it, winter starts. Yeah, a little bit. I bought Crawford a sled yesterday.
I got to make 3 trips down to Calgary over the next 3 weekends. If we could just keep us away till after December 3rd.
That's fair.
No, I don't know. That road's a bit dangerous. Central Alberta, I'll put this against any other road in the world. That is a dangerous stretch of highway.
Yeah, but it's twinned.
It's still dangerous. No way.
Really?
That is. Wow.
Driving on his car was sleeping. It was black ice, like driving 70 or whatever. Went right into the ditch, flipped, semi-jackknifed in front of us, like not that far down the road. It was wild. Damn.
Scary.
Well, hopefully, but we survived, so don't be that worried.
Wow. There you go. Easy road to drive on.
Easy road to crash and survive on. No, hopefully it's smooth driving, smooth sailing for Calvin Pickard. He's going to get the start tonight for the Oilers against the Florida Panthers whatever. Everything's a must win right now. They need to start racking up some victories here after that loss to Tampa. We're going to break down that loss to Tampa. We're going to talk about Pickard and the game coming up tonight against Florida. Frank Seravalli's going to stop by for a little surprise visit on a Monday. We're going to bug him about what could be going on the trade market around the NHL as well, specifically Edmonton, Montreal, maybe, who knows? But welcome into Oilers Nation Everyday, live from the Sports Closet studio. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. What'd you get up to?
I was in Calgary. I went to the Calgary Christmas markets. They were pretty cool.
That was the whole reason.
That was the intent of the trip?
That's why I went, yeah.
You a big Christmas guy?
I like Christmas. My girlfriend likes Christmas a bit more than me. I'm usually a December 1st Christmas guy. This year I was much earlier in November.
Do you say Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas?
Merry Christmas. Harry Potter says Happy Christmas.
So does the Queen.
She did.
Happy holidays.
So that's why I was.
Well, I'm Merry Christmas, but I call him Father Christmas, not Santa.
Really?
Père Noël.
It's like when you were a kid, you wrote letters to Father Christmas.
Yeah, Father Christmas. You didn't? Santa? There's another
Santa.
Canadian
Daddy?
thing for your list.
Daddy Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so something for the chat.
Put the shades down on him.
That's good. Something for the chat. We got a question for him.
Okay.
I am going down to Frank Seravalli's place for American Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
I want to bring a handful of Canadian delicacies, Canadian snacks down. So the obvious ones we've already got. You don't need to give us these ones. Smarties, all dressed chips, ketchup chips.
Is Smart?
That's the big 3.
They don't have Smarties in
It's the
US?
Canadian counterpunch to M&Ms. Although
Really?
I am M&Ms are better than Smarties guy.
I like Smarties more, but
me too. But we have those in England, so I was just I didn't know it was
Maybe it's a Commonwealth v.
maybe
American thing.
Yeah, that makes
so
sense.
we're going with those 3. But what am I missing?
Okay, so we have to get real into the weeds here.
I got a good list here in front of me.
maple syrup?
Yeah, but I'm not just gonna
Well,
bring...
there's like a maple syrup candy, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I was
maybe
thinking.
there is.
Yeah, maybe.
A Macintosh toffee. Everyone knows that big brick of toffee in the orange kind of not orange, red plaid kind of box.
Cheesies?
Oh, cheesies.
Yeah.
This guy's on fire. He's on fire.
He's having a good day. Dave said Nanaimo bars.
True,
but wouldn't travel that well.
Well, you don't
Keep
know
in
that.
mind, I'm getting to New York tomorrow. Then I don't see Frank till Thursday. So
You could probably buy. Are you checking luggage?
No.
Okay, maybe not.
They actually wouldn't be too bad if you
They're
checked the
flammable, so you
luggage.
can't bring them.
Because if you check the luggage, it's so cold in there, then it wouldn't be too bad at all.
Apparently, hickory sticks. Is
What?
it Canadian? Apparently, that's
Well,
what
that's
I'm
not
looking at here.
okay. Hickory sticks.
I like hickory sticks.
A couple of people said coffee crisp.
Is that a Canadian thing? Wow.
In here.
Cherry blossoms.
That feels too niche.
What do you mean? It's like maybe it's ultra Canadian. You don't even know it.
Big Turks.
Is Big Turk? No, I think Turkish Delight. They have Turkish Delight. Like the brand Big Turk, Mike.
Patrick read that
I think they have Turkish Delight there.
D Card says pack of Canadian classic smokes. Finished dinner.
Demorier
cigarette.
Yeah, just a sensible cigarette after dinner.
That's so Berta.
Spencer says Ferraro Rochers. Those aren't Canadian.
No, those are global.
Yeah, worldwide.
Hickory sticks are getting some love here.
What's like a Christmas candy?
Kinder Surprise here, apparently.
No,
that's
German. Huge in Europe.
Anyways,
doesn't Kinder like sponsor like world skiing events?
Someone Nuge Lover said Mars bars. That's everywhere too. That's global.
Yeah, Mars is global.
When I type in Kinder, it literally says Kinder USA.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It is now impossible to find a Kinder Surprise egg in America because they took their 1938 ban against candies with embedded toys more seriously.
Wow.
Well, then maybe for the kids.
Couple Kinder eggs for the kids.
do love
Come at the
a
end.
good Kinder egg. When I had roommates and I would go to the grocery store, I'd always come back with 3 Kinder eggs and I would give them one each. Just like a little treat.
Patrick says Canadian A&W is 1,000 times better than American A&W. What do you want me to do? Bring down
I think this doesn't qualify as candy, but maybe as a confection or definitely a baked good. This is elite. A McCain Deep and Delicious.
100%, Jay. 100%.
It might stay.
You got to keep them cold.
Yeah.
But it is an elite cake. It is very reasonably priced, and it is super Canadian.
Dave Lund said, bag milk, the item and the person.
That's also not a terrible idea.
Carry on, like have him, you just literally, he hops on your back and you carry him on the plane.
I know some people were saying our friends at Crown Royal, bring a bottle of Crown Royal. I can't get that unless I
Frank can get it.
Yeah, I know he can get it, but also I could get that at duty free, I guess. But I can't like bring that in my carry on.
Alberta Premium.
Easy
pure vodka.
Rusty says, fun fact of the day, A&W started in Logan, Utah, a town about 2.5 hours north of me. Okay.
Rusty's from Utah?
Rusty lives in Utah.
Oh, cool, man.
I had a Utah fella message me the other day and asked me why Winnipeg doesn't have an airport. I just said they just never built one.
That's a municipal debate for the ages. You have to take it up with the mayor, and the mayor's before them.
Okay, so Smarties, all dress trips, ketchup chips. Are you laughing at D cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not reading that one. Sorry, buddy. Anyways, Mars. Okay, Nuge Lover says Mars bars aren't in the States. They're called Milky Way, but they're called Mars everywhere else in the world. Okay, but they have them, so it's not like a delicacy. Like
no, there's a difference between a Mars bar and a Milky Way.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. We have both
but I'm shocked they don't have Mars. Like the company, like the overarching company is called Mars.
Yeah.
So like you think maybe Mars makes Milky Way and that's the whole conspiracy. Oh, what about the coconut bar?
Oh, Bounty?
Bounty. Oh, and Mirage. I think Mirage is Canadian. You know what Mirage is? It's like the Canadian take on an Arrow.
Oh.
But we have Arrow.
But we also have Mirage.
Okay.
Interesting.
Maybe you can't see it. Coffee
Crisp is probably a decent idea too.
Yeah.
My dad commented and said Cuban lunch.
Oh. yeah. I always avoided the Cuban lunch. And I'm like, do they actually have this in Cuba?
I don't know why they call it
I've been there. And I had lunch there.
You've
and I
been
don't
to
recall,
Cuba?
Yep. Cool. Don't recall having a Cuban lunch like that.
Breaking news for real life listeners: Chalmers has bailed on today's episode.
Oh, jeez.
Stunner.
After being the first one to say yes in the group chat.
Yep.
All
right. We have about 9 minutes until Frank Seravalli is going to stop by. So let's dig into that game on Saturday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. We broke it down on Oilersnation After Dark, which again will be going live tonight following the game against Florida. The Oilers were up 2-0 in that hockey game. And then I was sitting on my couch going, they might blow them out today. And then they get a couple power plays, they miss on them, and they just simply let Tampa hang around too much in that game.
Well, yeah. Scoring that third goal in the first period would have been very meaningful, and they had a lot of chances to do it. But you can't just say, like that would have been nice if they did it. They didn't. So it's what they did after that we should all be a little bit disappointed on. I feel like goaltending is getting a real hard shake of things on that game in particular. I think Stu made a lot of big saves. It's just we made a lot of blunders.
Yeah, there was a couple there he should have had. That Janot goal should have been stopped. That's a one-timer from very far out. And it's
he passed it back to
I know.
Yeah.
And Skinner, you watch the way he moved laterally, and he like dropped to his knees, moved a little, got up, and then tried. And I was like, okay, that one's got to be stopped. I thought that last one to I forget who scored it now. Glendening. That one was like, squeeze your arm, probably stop that one. So it wasn't a great game by any means by Skinner. But again, one of those ones where it's like, was Skinner the reason they lost? No, I don't think so.
They also made some good saves in that game.
Made some good saves.
Like I know goaltending is still an issue, and I'm not trying to defend it, but I feel like it was good enough, even though there was a couple bad goals, for us to still win that game.
Yeah, and Jacob asks an interesting question. Where were McDavid and Draisaitl? And it's another game where the Oilers stars are on a milk carton, man. I don't know what's going on with that.
But they're visible. That's the thing. It's not like they're invisible. Like Connor's buzzing around. He's trying. I just think they're gripping the stick too hard. Like how Leon last season, there is 0% chance, he misses the net and hits the post on that one. Like that was as easy as it gets for him. And he hit the post, but it just shows that like these guys are they're on the schneid. And just it's not clicking. Like Connor's trying to do that bank goal off the head, and like normally that's like really high successful percentage rate for him, and didn't go in.
Do we have the Janot goal for a second? Because there's some people asking in the chat about it, so I want to just go back and take a look, because it was Kyle who says the goal that went in or is offside. Sorry, someone else. Epiphany, should one of the D-men have gone to Janot? Well, let's watch the breakdown here. There's Bouchard.
It's not even about going to Janot.
Yeah, like
it's about what is Evan Bouchard doing in the neutral zone.
Not skating back hard. I do agree.
Turn the puck over.
But Nurse probably could have recognized this a little bit better. That's a bad turnover.
He should have played he wasn't playing the pass.
But look at Bouchard. Like he's looking like get back on your ass and defend.
Okay, but Darnell Nurse
he's got to go to that guy.
He's in no man's land.
He's in no man's land.
He's not playing the shot. He's not playing the pass, and he's
both are at fault.
Both are at fault. Yeah, and Skinner should have stopped it.
Okay, but that Nurse probably doesn't have to be in that position if Bouchard gets back into position.
Yeah, you're right. Like, I mean, Bouchard, watch when he takes his first hard stride.
Like, they have the puck now.
There. Like, that can't be your first hard stride. Yeah.
Well,
it was a Bouchard stride.
Yeah.
Like, that is really, really bad. Like, I don't disagree with you saying that Nurse should have come over a little bit more, of course, but, like, his D partner should be there to also help him, and then you prevent everything.
Yeah, that's the goal.
And then another thing is, and I really, really like this point from Cody said his head was in the cloud. Someone else said, oh yeah, Jason, Bouchard had no one to pass to. And that's another good point too, is where were your forwards on that goal?
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. There's going to be certain circumstances where you have no one to pass to.
But he did
make the pass.
No, but he kind of did do the right thing. Just throw it to the far side. And at the moment,
through a guy.
But that's away from traffic, right? So like, look, the three forwards are all floating down low.
But look, he can shoot it to his left, dump it in, and then they can go chase it. Like if you got nothing, just put it with some pace to where someone isn't.
That's Draisaitl on the far side there. How are you not going to open ice though? Like Draisaitl's just floating aimlessly in the offensive zone. Like watch him here. Where
Draisaitl should have stepped back in.
Of course, but there's a lot of shouldas.
Yeah.
But when you have no options and trying to pass it through a guy when you're last man back on our blue line, no.
I agree.
Deep.
Like
it's got to go in hard. Yeah, it's got to go in hard.
Simple play at that point. Simple play.
And we thought
see another day.
And then put it on your forwards if they don't have the urge, if they don't have the gas or urgency to want to go fight for that puck. Well, then it becomes on them. It's also about covering your ass in this league, right? Mm-hmm. Put the mistake on someone else. If he puts that deep, you're not going to have a goal.
Trust your teammates.
Well, trust your teammates, yeah.
It's just very frustrating to sit there and watch a game against the Tampa Bay Lightning where Derek Ryan scores twice. The depth is scoring. Oh, my God, things are going well. And then you can't get one power play goal. You can't get one bit of offense from 97 or 29. And it's just like,
it's coming, man. They just need to progress back to the mean. And that is it, because like something's like they're trying too hard.
3-1 in the last 4.
Exactly.
Like everyone
so
to know that.
if we keep
Skies are
following that
falling
pace,
hard.
I know, but like if you're gonna look at the schedule, like that's the game you probably should want to win because you're going into Florida. Although Barkov's probably not playing tonight, and you're going into Carolina. 2 tough outs.
I think it can be all these teams. I really do. If like the way Twitter reacted to this game, I get it. Like the Oilers fell back into some bad ways, but they just played 3 games in a row that they won in different ways. There is no reason to believe the Oilers can't win the next 3 games too.
Yeah, you're right.
But let's unpack some of those wins. Did they they got the W's, but they did it in a way where they actually truly deserved it?
Seattle, first game against Seattle, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, yes, and then no. Like there was 2 acts to that game.
Yeah, but they still played good enough, and I think a part of it's score effects. Like when you go up big early on a team, they're going to play.
Yeah, which means that like that 3rd goal in the first period was so crucial.
Yeah.
The Islanders game,
they were fine.
It was a bit of a lull.
Yeah, they hung in there.
Oilers decided to turn it up.
The second Seattle game,
they were really bad in the second period.
but they woke up and played 10 really good minutes.
Yeah.
Oilers hockey. That was it. Isn't that what they do all the time anyway?
Like, I know.
I just think that like it's okay that they lost a game. They last season.
That one was one you won.
But it's
sure.
It's
if they would have lost that game to Florida after beating Tampa,
we're carrying a deficit. We're carrying trauma and a very bad start. So like it is going to be put under a microscope. And like that game, it was ours, and we let it slip away during a very crucial time. So of course, Oilers fans are going to be upset.
And while you're right, and I like your optimism there, we're running out of loser talk time.
I know.
That's loser.
But if we go, to Liam's point, if we win the next 3 of 4, well, then this is a moot point. But like, we still haven't come out of it yet, so it's fair to be critical.
What was the run they had to go on that Frank said to get to like 500?
18-11. So
now they're 3-1 since Frank made that.
Yeah,
point.
so you got to go 15-10, which doesn't.
You're on pace.
Games.
You're on pace.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, what are the next? Like, it's
they have to win tonight.
You got to win one of the next 2.
Yeah.
And then but it's
or 2 of the next 3, I should say. You have to win 2 of the next 3, and you basically have to keep going at that pace the rest of the year.
I just don't think we can overreact to every single loss. They're going to lose games.
But we're in that. But
I get it.
You're right, and I like what you're trying to pull us out of it. But like, we're also right to be a little concerned at the same time.
I
agree.
Hey,
it's Calvin Pickard season. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I believe. I'm hoping this wakes the team like, holy shit, we got Pickard in net. We got to step it up. Like, I'm hoping it has that effect.
Yeah, me too. We'll see what happens.
Limit Florida to 20 shots or 18 shots, and let's shell them. It's also annoying our record when we score when we have 40 plus or more shots. That is mind blowing.
What did Derek Ryan say when they asked him?
He's like, it tells me that we don't defend well enough, or we allow too many goals or something like that.
Yeah,
smart.
Thanks, Derek.
Well, no, that's a good answer.
Florida Panthers have outshot the opposition in 4 of their last 5 games, and the one game they didn't, it was an even split, 35-35 against the Ducks. So Florida's been putting a lot of rubber towards the net. They've been doing a good job preventing shots on goal. In 3 of their last 4 games, they've allowed under 30 shots.
That's what we do. We break streaks. Normally it's the reverse, but
you mentioned no Barkov, but they have Ekblad and Montour both back. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson turned back the clock a decade and looks like 2013 Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yeah, but he's probably being played appropriately. You know what one of my big issues is? Well, what are his minutes? I don't know. I'm
no, but with Montour and Ekblad out, he was playing 20 to 22 minutes a game.
Yeah. Like I think with Bouchard, what we need to do is we need to manage his minutes better. Yeah. If we need a goal, you need him on the ice.
Yeah.
But if we're in a tight game, you got to manage it better and reduce that exposure because we're all seeing some of those like gaffes that are turning into goals. Our goaltending isn't strong enough yet. So like we have to like play by the numbers here. And I think in those tighter situations in a game, or in kind of just like closeout situation, manage his minutes. We don't need a goal. Like he's going to go and do the things and make the plays and cheat in areas to try to produce offense. But when it's tight, I think you got to cut back the minutes a bit.
Yeah, they need to decide when it's worth the risk.
Yeah,
they do it with Vinny, right? Like when they need to defend maybe a little bit better, they give him a D zone start, but they never give him O zone starts and like stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. Like it's just manage it a little bit better and just reduce because everyone's complaining about the gaffes. Well, if he's playing 22 minutes, you're only going to exacerbate that.
Yeah, that's fair. Did someone send Frank the link?
I did.
Oh, you did? Nice. Good job.
Is Frank still in Sweden?
No, Frank's home. He's a little jet lagged, but he's home. We also had we'll talk about a few different things with Frank today. Yeah, I think, and this is getting a little bit into the Sherwood Ford Giant game day side of things. The Oilers are going to go 11-7 tonight. And I wonder if maybe Chris Knobloch isn't sitting there going, yeah, I need to ease off the minutes on a guy like Bouchard.
Bouchard did only play 13 minutes the other night.
Yeah, like
a lot of his he played
other night
against Tampa, but he played like 23 overall because he had so much 4-on-4 or 5-on-4.
Yeah, so which is where you should play him. So
Yeah.
he played 23 minutes. Don't tell me he played 13 minutes.
I said 5-on-5.
No, but so totally 23 minutes.
Yeah, 23,
So
30.
he should maybe play
second
16
most.
minutes total.
yeah, but
in a tight game. Remember, like
Yeah,
it's you're managing.
I was just seeing
Pick
where
and
that
choose
was
your
stacked.
battles with Bouchard.
yeah.
I fully believe in his offensive upside. It's just we gotta, we know it comes at a bit of a cost sometimes, right? So we gotta mitigate that.
Yeah, I thought Vinny Desharnais looked actually pretty good last game.
He's keeping it simple.
Yeah, I felt like
That's
him
all
and
it is.
Kulak could have played more minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of with Jay.
Kulak can skate. Vinny is tough and mean and can well, that's talking about losing soft puck battles, like that doesn't happen if it's Vinny.
Yeah.
Right. So once again, mitigating that.
Yeah, you're right. There were a couple of good moments from that Tampa game, but I feel like we got to give some love to James Hamblin.
Yeah.
This just, oh man, if you weren't teary-eyed watching this,
man.
you have no emotions at all. This was great to see, a great shot as well from Hamblin, who's just kind of a little bit right place, right time, but picks it up, quick release, and then he said after he had that one in the hopper for a little bit whenever he dreamed about his first goal. So
still get chills. I was watching it on mute because my daughter was sleeping beside me, and I could read his lips.
Yeah.
Right, like it was just that, like, so like you, like, even without sound, you knew what happened, and it was super special.
Yeah, it's always cool to see those moments in the NHL, I think, or I guess any sports. But did you see what Chris Knobloch said to him? He said to him on the bench, he's like, so what was that goal? 250, 251? Like, he just looked like he scored it so
What a
naturally.
shot it was, man. Top shelf.
Well, like to
little
knock that
skate,
puck down. Yeah, it was
all of it. He's been really impressive.
He's got a motor.
And I was, early in the year, I called him a quad A player, a guy who's just never going to be good enough to be in the NHL, but always be a great AHL player. I think he might be proving me wrong.
I think he's the fourth line center of this team moving forward. I think they need to have his speed and tenacity on that fourth line.
Him and Gagne together. I like that.
Otherwise, you're just going to have Matthias Janmark there, who isn't a center, but you have him there for his speed because Gagne and Derek Ryan aren't quick enough anymore.
Yeah.
I think Hamlin's a choice, but ultimately, he's going to get sent down because they have no choice.
They have choices.
What's the choice?
Waive Ernie. That's the easy one.
Yeah, that's right. They should definitely do that.
They should assign Adam Ernie to sit at home.
Oil fields.
You could. I mean, who knows how long Matthias Janmark's going to be out for? But you give him back and you give him some runway. But I don't know. Like Lavoie went back, right?
But he was an emergency recall.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I think they had to send him.
But they brought him back up. They just
they sent him back.
But it was to keep that 30-day waiver.
No, but
I think he needed to go down though. If they weren't going to play him in the top 9, he needs to go down and score goals.
Yeah. I'm with you. So we'll see. With James Hamblin on the ice last game in 7 5-on-5 minutes, the Oilers outshot the Tampa Bay Lightning 7-1. Now, granted, pretty much everyone outshot the opposition at 5-on-5, but still, those are really good numbers. He was the only Oiler who was on the ice for 2 5-on-5 goals in that game.
Hamlin?
Yeah. Good little story there.
Is he better than Ryan McLeod?
As of right now, yeah.
Tries harder.
Kind of a crazy question. Another one to add to the show.
Wildly depressing thought, yeah. Frank here.
Cloud tries hard.
Yep.
But he's
on the outskirts of the ice.
Yeah.
Great winger.
He's getting his cardio in.
Yeah, you said that on After Dark. That was a good line.
All right. Let's move along. It's a short
1 million.
It's a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show, but we have a special guest joining us on the Star Mechanical guest line. Frank Seravalli, our hockey insider for StarMechanical.ca. Frank, you happen to be back in North America.
I am. I actually had a really weird, borderline scary incident when I was in Stockholm. I didn't tell you guys about this. I was kind of on Eastern time the whole time. So one night left the rink at 12:30, so just a bit after midnight. And, met up with some Swedish journalists and friends for a cocktail. Because it's still Eastern time, 3:30 in the morning, I'm not tired, right? So it's, 9 something Eastern time. I'm like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. I'm going to go to Burger King. There's one right there. I'm going to get a burger and get something to eat and then go to bed. In Burger King, walking to my, my seat with my tray. I'm all happy. I'm excited. And there was someone there that looked at me and like literally pierced my soul and then said, "Death to America."
Oh no.
And I don't really get scared. Like, I'm not kidding. I wanted to run because I was like, we've just made this a to-go order. Yeah. I was like, I'm out.
Jesus Christ.
Jeez.
At a Burger King, nonetheless, an American institution.
It was not very friendly.
Yeah, that is spooky. What was, outside of the Burger King, best thing you ate in Stockholm?
I went to Pelican, which is one of the like popular touristy meatball places, and they had like the whole Swedish menu there. I'm not into like a bunch of the different things, but I could definitely get behind meatballs.
Who couldn't?
Do they have IKEA in Sweden, or is that just like an American thing we say is Swedish?
No, it started in.
I wasn't sure. I thought so.
Yeah, IKEA is an acronym, I think, for like the guy's name and the town he's from in Sweden or something like that.
Ah, very good. But Sweden, cool spot. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. Really like busy but productive week. I got to spend a lot of time with people that I don't normally get to, which was really good. Like I was saying to Tyler when we were just talking about the trip off camera, like, what was it like? And I'm like, well, no one else has anything to do. So like you bump into Sens owner Michael Andlauer and you can talk to him for a half hour, or their new GM and Steve Stais, or whatever it might be. Like you get some time with people that you otherwise wouldn't get, which is always really important in this business.
And you got a bunch of new Frankly Speakings in the hopper now as well. Bill Guerin dropped today. Is it out already?
I don't think it's out yet. It's dropping today. We've got Barry Trotz from last week. We talked to Doug Armstrong last week. That one already dropped. New NHLPA executive director Marty Walsh was unreal, like crazy good 45-minute conversation, and you'll love his Boston accent. Jacob Chikrin from the Sens as well. So it was a really busy few days.
The chat is saying they're glad you're safe, Frank. And someone else said Burger King, and then someone else sang the Whopper song. So the chat's a little bit all over the place after Frank shared that story with us. Let's talk a little.
Yeah, sorry about that. It took a dark turn, I know, but if you get what I'm saying when this person said it, you'll understand it.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous you went to Pelican. Ufe took me there when I was in Stockholm. It is like the must, exactly, tourist institution, but meatballs and lingonberries.
It was so good. And you know what? I didn't realize how popular it was. I went there on Saturday afternoon. And by the way, there's like a great vibe in there. It feels kind of like a German beer drinking hall, if that makes any sense when I say it. And it was completely packed, no tables available. And the guy was like, you know what? I think we might be able to fit you in over here at the bar. And we got 2 seats, and it was so good.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's talk Oilers, Frank. You brought up on the rundown the playoff odds from Micah Blake McCurdy for the Oilers, and they were like 58% or something like that. I'm looking at Money Puck right now. They're 57%. And we sit here on a day-to-day and we ride the ebbs and flows on the show of every win and every loss. And today, after the loss to Tampa, it's kind of like, oh my God, this team's never going to figure it out. They're cooked. But then you look at those numbers and it's like, oh, like that's actually a pretty decent shot at still getting in this. From your outsider perspective, do you think 57, 58% is a fair number, or do you think the analytics are maybe being too kind to the Oilers?
In fact, like I actually, in my own head, if you were to say, like, what do you think the Oilers' chances of making the playoffs are without me looking at those numbers and without me assessing anything other than solely the way things have started, my answer would be somewhere around 65. That's not me being overly optimistic. It's just that this power play, it's not going to continue on with the top unit at 11%. It's not going to continue on with Connor McDavid being whatever he is in league scoring. We're living in a world, I saw this the other day on social media, where Cole Perfetti has more points than Connor McDavid. Like, that's just not going to be a trend that continues on. And so if you actually take a step back, which I think is healthy to do, I know you guys are in the muck, but when you think about the situation that Jeff Jackson and Ken Holland have in front of them, you can kind of understand why there's, they've made two pretty significant moves to this point, waiving Jack Campbell and making a coaching change. Yes, there are more potentially on the horizon and potentially sooner rather than later if this doesn't turn around. But those numbers, the metrics, the underlying data that they have that's proprietary that points all this stuff out, they're feeling a lot like what those models are looking like, which is we can't just continually, try and burn this down. We've got to try and find a way to right the ship and get on that path.
So tonight, Calvin Pickard gets the start.
I love it. I think he should have already started.
I think that's
when
fair.
would you have started him?
I would have started him the first game on that road trip after you called him up. So it was, they went to Van and then they went, where was that?
The place we shan't name.
Seattle.
They should have started him against San Jose. Seattle was the Saturday night game. They should have started him against San Jose.
Pickard has not played in an NHL game since March 27th of 2022. When he was with the Penguins, he allowed 4 goals on 13 shots. This is an interesting spot in the Oilers season, I think, because if he comes in and delivers here, it probably eases a bit of pressure until his next start in terms of like organizationally pressure to go make a trade, go find someone out there. If this goes bad tonight, Frank, the pressure on Holland and Jackson to make a trade for a goalie, it's got to be getting cranked right up, right?
I mean, yes and no, because the reality in either situation, win or loss, is probably that he's not starting the next game again anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you go back to Skinner. And I understand your thought process of why you'd say that, as my pen just exploded. The thought process of why you'd say that, it makes sense. But I think the Oilers have been really diligent in assessing the goaltending market. And I also feel like I know that they think that there are two different paths here in terms of what they do and what they spend. And the biggest issue for them is that they're having a hard time adjusting or correlating price to actually finding someone that's a difference maker or an impact guy.
So what do you make of the 3 names in Montreal? Like Jake Allen, probably too expensive unless Jack Campbell is somehow going back the other way. Montembeault, I mean, I get the sense Montreal probably wants to keep that guy around. Caden Primo, is he a legit solution to the problem here? Like, are any of these 3 realistic options?
I mean, I think 2 of them are. Like, I can't see the Oilers saying, hey, we're going to trade for Caden Primo. I like Primo. I think his numbers in the AHL have been quite good. I think the Canadians have done a really poor job managing his confidence level, particularly by leaving him out to dry last season. I like Montembeault, but like I wouldn't make a big bet on him trying to come in and be the savior. If any of those 3 guys you're going to trade for, it would be Jake Allen. I don't think he's like insanely expensive, because I also think the Habs would like to figure out their crease situation sooner rather than later and perhaps turn the ball over to Montembeault and get Primo either playing or get him more time, so that they don't have to lose him on waivers, which is really the key point here. So that's the guy that, if you were looking solely at the Canadians, that I would be targeting, is someone that's been around and has experience. You can't go again after you hire a coach that didn't have any NHL head coaching experience to then all of a sudden be like, yeah, we're going to bring in Montembeault, who has however many games under his belt, to be our guy that rides us to victory.
Do you think the Oilers want someone who's going to split with Stuart Skinner then, or would they be good with having a very good backup goalie who's just going to kind of help Skinner where he needs to?
You okay there?
We're falling apart here.
Yeah, it's just a disaster.
It's okay. The Crown Royal's good. We're all good.
Whole situation.
Yeah.
The Crown is good. We're good. I would think that, given the way Skinner has played, that you'd want someone that you could rely on to be the horse if necessary. Like this, consider what the Oilers are, what the expectations are this season. you're not like looking for hey, this guy could get us through the next 3 weeks. Like, I don't think, like, especially if you're moving real assets to do it, you're looking for a guy that like you would feel okay starting in a Stanley Cup playoff game.
Yeah.
That is easier said than done. The other side of it too, and I know this is getting talked about a lot, I wrote about it today at Oilersnation.com, is if you're going to go get a guy and try to offload Campbell in the process, like 3 more years at $5 million. I mean, we're talking multiple first-round picks and then maybe more here. Are we not, Frank?
I don't think so. I mean, look at what the LA Kings were able to do this past summer. Cal Peterson had 2 more years at $5 million, and they also included Sean Walker in the deal, who had 1 more year on his deal at I think it was almost 3. It's 265. So they traded 7, 6, 5, and 5, and they got a 2nd-round pick for that.
They kept on Provorov too, though, right?
Yeah, but only $2 million. So it's still $5+ million that they withheld for 2 full seasons, and it was only a 2nd. I think it's probably 1 first-round pick for sure, and probably a 3rd or something, but it's not 2 firsts.
I thought it'd be more like I remember that Marlowe thing a couple of years ago, right? Where the Canes got a 1st-round pick for taking on that cap hit and buying him out. And I go, well, that was for 2 years of dead cap space. So 3 more is like
6
years of dead cap space.
There's only 1 year of Marlowe, I think.
1 year. 1 year, 6 million, I think, or 6 something.
Yeah.
Into the Leafs, that meant a lot.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just worried about what that cost is, and it makes me wonder, like, again, buying out Jack Campbell, like you just flashed up there, AB, it creates 6 years of dead cap space. In years 2 and 3, like it's 2.3 and 2.4 million bucks. What's the cost on Campbell if you retain half? Right? Like, can you keep half that money, bring it down to 2.5, go get another goalie somewhere for 2.5? You're net positive on the goalie front, but at least you found a better goalie.
I think it would be trade first, buyout 2nd, retain 3rd.
Like, the idea I keep coming to is like the San Jose Sharks got to be itching for 1st-round picks here. Like, if you kept $2 million of Campbell and added a 1st-round pick, could you get Blackwood? And then you have basically Blackwood in your brain is going to be $4.3 million. That's fine. You're saving $775K. San Jose sitting there going, we don't need a good goalie. We're rebuilding. We'll take Campbell, play him, whatever. He'll be junk, but we get a 1st-round pick.
But what if you could trade a 1st and a 3rd or something, not retain anything, and then take on Blackwood?
That would be awesome.
That would be ideal.
That should be exactly where they need to be looking.
Yes, let's tee it up.
They need to find any way they can not to have any Campbell money on the Bucks anymore.
That's exactly my thought process. Is you need to wholly get rid of that, and that's why the buyout would then be at least a little bit attractive, because what you really have to think about is next season and beyond. You want as little on the books as you can. And that would kind of be like a way better version of sending him to the minors, is having just 1 million that first year on your books.
Then years 2 and 3 just aren't good. And then you have dead cap space for 3 more after that.
That's why the first priority should be getting him offloaded somewhere. And like today.
Yeah, they probably got to giddy up at some point here. Maynard's in the chat. He says, yes, Blackwood, let's do that. I would love it. Brett says, what about a guy like John Gibson? He listed off a couple other names as well. I don't see like that. He's too expensive. Like, then again, you have Skinner, so you don't need a Gibson type, or you don't need to spend on a Gibson type.
But why would you want to take on the turn? Like, you're back in the same hole that you've been in. And more than that, his numbers are just okay. Like, does anything that he has suggest to you that he's going to be that much better than, I mean, I know this year's numbers are pretty good, but they've been pretty good for Dostal as well. Or were 6 million. Do you want the term? Like, you're back in the same spot you were in. At least get someone in Blackwood that if he's no good, you have no long-term connection to him.
Yeah, I think he's the slam dunk option if you can find a way to get him.
Me too. Where would you go, Frank? Who would be the guy you would be targeting the most if you were the Edmonton Oilers?
Just trying to make sure I don't miss anyone. I'm pulling up the list of goalies, and the key part is availability, right? Like, you can.
I know everyone loved to bring up Binnington, but it's similar to what the answer you just gave on Gibson. Like, what you want to go trade an albatross contract for another albatross contract? Like,
100%. Like, that's the part that I go, ooh, like, doesn't really make a lot of sense. And he also just had 100 games of totally mediocre play.
Saros? Is he
Saros is not available.
Yeah, figured so.
I had you mentioned pods in the bank. Barry Trotz asked him point blank on the pod, is UC Saros available? He said nope, just met with his agent last week. This is a guy that we want to have in our system for a long time. Elite goalies are hard to find. And if you have any hope of turning your team around and rebuilding and restarting, he's like, Saros is exactly the guy you need.
All right, so we can scratch that off the list.
Should I just keep telling you names that people are throwing out there? Like, people always ask about the Boston goalies, but my point would be, why would Boston want to get rid of a
What's
goalie?
the incentive for them to move either one? I don't really understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So, okay, there's another one off.
So one guy that I don't have any sense that he's available, but I think if you really made it worth their while, he could be a potential option. I love Vemelka.
Oh, Frank, don't
said that going into the season. We talked about Veggie, but like, isn't Arizona like kind of in the mix?
Yeah, they're trying to be competitive, but like, if you throw another throw another first round pick at them, they only have one. So that would be one guy I would think about.
What would it
it would be expensive.
That's why he's at another first, so like 2 firsts.
Could you do like Borgo in a first?
I mean, now
I
we're
think
just but
well, I'd rather get.
Yeah,
I think you probably could do something like that. What about okay, if we're talking purely based on play this season, Peter Mrazek. I know that you go, okay, maybe not all that comfortable about him starting a playoff game, but he's got a 915 on the 30th place team in the league this year, and he's in the final year of his deal at $3.8 million, and the Blackhawks are open to moving him. But he has a 10-team no trade, and I'm pretty sure the Oilers are on it.
God, this is gotta.
Well, that wouldn't be surprising.
That's all this shit's.
It's
so
annoying. Philip says, bring up Matt Berlin. Why not? He won back-to-back games with the Golden Bears this weekend. Shout out Bob Stauffer.
Jay, was it your cousin that had the Berlin jersey?
Tyler just dropped it off today. Signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Matt was very excited to do that. He had a big smile on his face when he saw it. All right, Frank, we'll wrap this thing up here because it is a short for Giant game day. We got to get set for Oilers Panthers here tonight. Florida Panthers, they've been one of the sneaky good stories around the league, like from surviving the Ekblad Montour absences and then being as good as they were. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they are a really good team that I have to fully admit I got wrong. I said in my preseason predictions, I was thinking they'd have a start like the Oilers would because they're missing their top 2 guys. And that's hard to do. Like, I think this defense core gets really thin in a hurry. You guys know the Kulikov experience and what that's like. Nico Mikkola, just a guy at 6'7", something like that. Brandon Montour obviously coming back at, like, look how different this lineup looks with those 2 guys. Like, they were dressing a guy from Latvia that we had never even heard of before in their opening night lineup. Like, it's what this team has accomplished. What it tells me is, as their goaltenders have just sort of been pretty average, it tells me that their forward core is really among the very best in the league.
Yeah. All right, Frank, we'll let you go. I'm going to be seeing you in a couple of days, though. We were brainstorming in the chat Canadian delicacies I should be bringing down as my contribution for Thanksgiving. So I'll get that all thrown together, and then I'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, well, what are you going to bring?
It's going to be a surprise.
Nanaimo pause.
Yeah,
poutine doesn't travel well.
Pardon?
Poutine doesn't travel well.
That's what you think.
Yeah, fries aren't a good delivery option.
No. But I'll get something thrown together. And I'm lying when I say I will. Amber's at the grocery.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's kidding who here? We know that's not happening.
All right, Frank. Thanks for stopping by. See you later.
See you guys.
There you go. Frank Seravalli on the Star Mechanical guest line, Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. It's been that way for over 20 years. Gentlemen, it is a Sherwood Ford giant game day edition of the show. Winter, it may not feel like it's here, but it's coming. You know snow's coming eventually. Sherwood Ford's service and parts department is engaged in the season. They are selling winter tires, winter rims, mountain balance, wheel alignments, everything you need to get your vehicle winterized. And if you need a little bit of help, you don't know what to do when it comes to the tire game, their website has a tire quote tool where customers can find out their giant discounted tire deals and get the right tires for your vehicle. So we'll drop the link to that in the description of today's episode. The Oilers are going 11-7 tonight as they take on the Florida Panthers, and it's a Florida Panthers team that is absolutely red hot. This is how the Oilers are expected to line up in this hockey game. Connor McDavid with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Connor Brown. Draisaitl, Kane, and Hyman once again. McLeod with Fogle and Derek Ryan. James Hamblin and Sam Gagner will be the fourth line. Philip Broberg on the fourth line. He's the seventh D-man. Usual 6 in front of him on the back end. So giddy up.
Giddy up.
What do you make of 11-7? I would have loved to see Raph Lavoie stick around for an 11-7 game again, just because I would have liked to see him get some minutes with some skill. But also, you're not taking Hamblin out. You're probably not taking Gagner out, and you're definitely not taking Derek Ryan out. So this all makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think ultimately it was probably the right decision for the team and for Lavoie. I think it's good that they've kept a lot of it together, though. At the same time, this team needs to have some continuity in it. Like, Brown needs to play on the first line with McDavid
for 4 or 5 games.
He needs to find his way, and then you can determine from there if he's capable of it or not. I like that Broberg's back in. I think he should get a fair shake tonight and actually play some decent minutes for his team too.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jay, what do you make of going 11-7?
Well, we kind of alluded to it earlier, just talking about kind of the deployment of our defensemen. Having a 7th defenseman gives us more options, and hopefully, we can better manage certain situations in the game now that we have more options on the blue line. So, yeah, it is what it is on the front on the forward group, but realize we just need McDavid and Dry to find it. And I think, there was that article Spec had that I think they just need to kind of. They're feeling it. They just need to go back to just playing hockey. If
we want to get to a Sherwood Ford giant key to victory for this hockey game, we haven't done one of those in a while. It's 97-29 for me, and it's not even close. Those two got to go on a dynamite run here where they carry this team to victory for 3 or 4 games. We've talked about how, at some point this year, you're going to have to go on a very long win streak to get this season back on the rails and to be in a spot where you feel comfortable about your playoff chances. Only way that happens for me is if you have 3 or 4 games at some point where it's just the McDavid and Draisaitl show.
May I thin that idea a little bit? I think 97. I think Draisaitl won his 2 games this past week. He had 7 points in 2 games. McDavid is the one who needs to pick up the slack here a little bit.
We need a vintage McDavid game where he scores 2 rush goals and sets up a beauty.
Yeah, you look back, Draisaitl had 4 points against the Islanders, and he didn't look great doing it, but he had 4 points. He's the one who passed the puck over to Evander Kane for that game-tying goal against Seattle, too. Yeah. It's McDavid that needs to step up, which is the craziest statement I've said ever.
To talk about Dry for 1 second in that Bolts game. That pass he gave in our own zone when he tried to pass it out right to the only guy who could have passed was a Tampa Bay guy who gave him an immediate high danger chance. It's what?
There were a lot of frustrating moments with 29 in that hockey game. Yeah. There have been a lot recently, but the production's there, right? So, again, I get just as upset with a lot of his tendencies as anyone else. And then, you sit there day after a game or day after a loss and you kind of go, oh, well, son of a bitch. He's one of the highest scorers in the league still. And
it's crazy.
When the team can't score all that much, you need him to be producing. And he is kind of doing that. It hasn't been in that classic Draisaitl dominant fashion.
And I think a big reason for that too is because we're just not seeing him bang home goals on the power play. You're just not seeing traditional Draisaitl. But I don't disagree with his nonchalantness at times. It's very frustrating to watch. But then, like you said, you look and it's he had 3 points tonight.
Putter is in. If McDavid completed a pass, that would be nice. It's been weird many bad turnovers
it's weird.
He's had.
It's does he have a broken wrist or something? It's weird.
That Cole Perfetti Frank thing that he just said. That
well, if Cole Perfetti's agent should be talking an extension right now with the Jets.
Yeah. I would prefer to block that stat from my brain.
My that's on Connor's wall. Don't worry, he's bulletin board material. But for me, it's all those things. But just we got Calvin Pickard in net. So we need to shut it down defensively, and we need to get sticks on pucks and bodies in front of shots, and we need to limit the exposure that Calvin's going to face tonight as he gets back to the NHL game, because this could go one of two ways, right? Like, he's got that confidence in the AHL, and he plays good enough, and the defense play good enough, or it could go the other way, and then we just collapse in front of him.
Calvin Pickard, this will be his 117th career NHL game. He is a 3.04 goals against average and a 903 save percentage.
I'll take 903.
I would take 3 goals against and a 903 tonight.
All day. Put that math into the season and see what our record would be.
Yeah. All right. The lineup on the other side of this one for the Florida Panthers, that forward group, like Frank said, it's an absolute wagon. Carter Verhaeghe's got 6 points in his last 5 games. He's on the top line with Anton Lundell and Sam Reinhart, who is one of the highest scorers in the league this year. It's insane the run Sam Reinhart's been on.
It must be nice to have a good Reinhart.
Is he on a contract year?
Yes, he's a UFA at the end of the year. Back in 2011, when the Kootenay Ice won the WHL championship, they were led by Sam Reinhart, and their head coach was
Chris Knobloch.
Bingo. Chris Knobloch was the head coach of that team.
Finally said his name.
And they also had a player on that team who has the best name in the history of the WHL, Steel Boomer.
I do not remember old Steel Boomer.
Old Steel Boomer.
Well, he's
now like a firefighter in Edmonton.
Well,
like,
you have
he's back.
to be
He's back in the
like
For any of our Aussie audience, my favorite name in sports is an AFL player named Steel Sidebottom.
That is a good name.
Steel Sidebottom. Played for the Collingwood Magpies.
Sam Bennett on the second line with Evan Rodriguez and Matt Tkachuk. Someone in the chat said maybe a game against the Rat Tkachuk will wake up 29 and 97. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Kevin Stenlund with E2 Lusterainen, Nick Cousins on the third line, Steven Lorenz with Jonah Gadjevich and Ryan Lomberg. So again, injuries kind of hitting this Panthers team still. No Alexander Barkov for this hockey game tonight. Their top 6 dynamite. Their bottom 6 pretty mediocre. So hopefully Derek Ryan can just keep carrying the offense, because he should get some good matchups.
DR10, let's go, baby.
Blue line, Forsling with Ekblad, who had 4 shots in his return to the lineup the other night. Montour with Nico Mikkola. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, 4 points in his last 5 games on a pairing with former Oiler and sneaky good puck doku answer, Dmitry Kulikov.
Yeah, he's played for a few teams now.
Pittsburgh, Anaheim. Florida, Anaheim, Edmonton.
Well, there's one other one in there, though.
Probably.
Did you say
he was with Florida twice.
New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
That's where we got him from.
Yeah, the one
he's been around. Crazy. He's been around. If you want more of a breakdown in terms of stats, the matchup, and everything like that, Aaron and I are going to be going live an hour before puck drop at 4:00. So you can tune into that on the Oilers Nation YouTube. Pre-gaming with Boardsy, brought to you by Sherwood Ford the Giant and Sherwood Power Sports and Marines. Free Spirit Marine and Power Sports had been around since 1985. And what are they doing? Teaming up with our friends at Sherwood Ford to create Sherwood Power Sports and Marine, that sleek all-black exterior that we got to look at the dealership the other day. It is sharp, and it's opening up in February 2024 for all of your outdoor needs: fishing boats, pontoons, ATVs, side-by-sides, and motorcycles. Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Let's get to the menu tonight for our friends at DoorDash. The Oilers game starts at 5. Which means it'll be done at 7:30.
Means your DoorDash order comes in the first intermission.
You time it up.
Yep.
100%. Right at like the first TV time out of the game.
Or there's no time to cook. You're rushing home. This is a DoorDash night. Flashing green light.
And then also when the Oilers game ends, a very, very good appetizer, even though it's kind of like the main course. Second half of Eagles Chiefs Monday Night Football. That is a doozy of a football game.
Better be.
Big one. I got a lot of fantasy football stuff on the line tonight.
Me and you do, Liam. We got a whole matchup on this.
I got a bigger one on the line. I'm going up against Kelsey, Pacheco,
Second place
and
over here.
Smith.
Over here.
And Kelsey, I'm down, Pacheco. I am up by 30.
Oh, you're cooked, bro.
But no Tay.
Yeah, but still.
That could be big. Kelsey only had 2 points last week.
So you don't think Patty's going to be feeding him on primetime?
No, I think the Eagles are going to stuff him. And I think the Chiefs are going to stuff the Eagles. It's going to be 3-3.
It's going to be a bunch of Thanksgiving stuffing.
Yeah.
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 Later tonight, a couple of Pacific Division matchups. Calgary takes on Seattle. San Jose takes on Vancouver. So a pretty loaded sports night here. And that is the menu brought to you by DoorDash. Liam,
Ding dong.
promo code at the top of the screen. You see it. For a limited time, our Canadian listeners can get 25% off and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and use that promo code NATION25. Let's wrap up a game day edition of the show. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Aaron. It's much easier when you just pop on and point. Let's wrap up the show with our Betway Game Day Betting Challenge. Shout out to Betway 19+. Please play responsibly. I'm coming off a dub.
Well done, Jay. You had the hat trick.
I know, just the wrong one. I should have picked.
Guy.
I'm trying to will McDavid off of the Schneid. So, anyways.
So, what do you like tonight?
Still believe, man. So, Oilers money line over 5.5. It's paying pretty nice.
It would put a good dent in the hole you've dug yourself here. So I don't hate it.
Yeah,
and I mean, come on, there should be a ton of goals.
It's because I bet on the Oilers to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's my issue. Will I stop? Hell no.
Money line in the over. I mean, Florida's got
over 5.5.
Over 5.5.
I do like that.
I like that.
Yeah. Florida's last 2 games have been 2-1 and 2-1. Okay. But before that, it was over. So it was a run of 5 straight over. So they're probably due to get back in the over column. I don't hate it at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned Florida had been stingy when it comes to giving up shots. I'm going to say the Oilers get a bunch of rubber on them. I'm going Oilers as a team, 32+ shots on goal at minus 110.
Still don't believe they can win, eh?
I'm too nervous about tonight to bet money on it.
They can go over 32, but less than 40. Somewhere in that sweet spot.
Yeah, that's their sweet spot. 32 to 40. Liam, what do you like there?
Draisaitl
Leon
goal.
to be on the ice.
Just Leon Draisaitl.
Leon Draisaitl.
Plus 115. They have it.
Leon Draisaitl to exist plus 115.
If he steps on the ice, that cashes.
Yeah. Well, because they'll score tonight. He's going to score 5 points tonight, Leon Draisaitl. The Oilers will win 7-4. Draisaitl will have 5 points. McDavid will have 3. And Connor Brown will score a goal tonight.
Connor, he's due. He's due.
Yeah.
He's due. He's due.
Fell on a breakaway last game. So
that was
almost ended the season on game 10. I was like, no.
That would have been so fun.
No.
He was on the outside and kind of decided to go more to the outside.
I don't know
and
what he tried to
broke
do.
his back.
Yeah, a lot of pressure there. I saw you had something up on your screen, the game that we're playing.
Wendy's.
The Wendy's game?
The Wendy's game.
I got it. Would you like me to read the options?
It's a new week.
Please.
It's a new week on the Wendy's Survivor game.
And I'm betting with my heart again.
So we've got Avs versus Preds. Avs to win. Preds to beat the Avs. Pasternak goal. Robertson assist. Kings over 3.5 goals. Pedersen point. Tampa Bay over 25.5 shots. McDavid over 1.5 points. Calgary 19.5 hits or more. And Panarin over 3.5 shots.
Like there is a dead set obvious one, and then there's the one I picked.
There's Pedersen.
Pedersen over 0.5.
Yeah.
I went McDavid over 1.5 because God damn it, if I'm gonna win some hamburgers, it's gonna be on the back of the Oilers.
Pedersen, I'll give you the percentages. Pedersen, 58% of people pick Pedersen.
Yeah.
7% of people who are actually all Oilers fans
are believers.
Yes, all believers of McDavid.
If you can go 4 for 4 this week on the game, you will win 1,300 loyalty points on the all-new Wendy's app. Rewards, and the W in rewards, I'm just looking, is the Wendy's W. Very cool. Eat, earn, and then eat for free with the all-new Wendy's
right
app.
now. I'm starving.
I had the barbecue bacon cheeseburger on Friday night for dinner.
Nice. For dinner?
Yeah.
Is it bigger? I thought he was just a low guy.
No, the barbecue bacon one's
it's a big.
Oh, it's a
big
full.
dog.
You can get it at a
big
meal.
dog. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought he was like a value man.
And they ask you, single or double patty. So you can
double.
Yeah.
Always double. Who's
Double
got
it
time
up.
for a single?
And you know what I did? Ate it in my car on the way to
Wow.
the Build-A-Bears
You
game.
sicko.
Classic.
It's so good. The
We need a lot
crunch
of
on it
Wendy's.
is actually amazing.
Oh, the onion is so good.
It's
Oh, I'm so hungry.
very
Stop
unique
it.
meal.
I'm literally so hungry.
These are the picks. I made a new account so I can do this.
0% on the LA Kings to score that many goals tonight, which
Who are
is
they
fair.
playing?
I have no idea.
I actually, they're playing Arizona.
Over Melka. Actually,
Edge.
light him up.
Light them up.
Yeah.
Knock the value down, LA. Do us a solid.
Imagine we could get veggie.
See,
Be a lot.
That
I'm
would
a
be
Blackwood
awesome.
guy myself.
I'm with you on it, but imagine you can get veggie, and all it costs is a first and a third. And the prospect, I don't even care.
I would pay big bucks for Vejmelka. I would not pay any money for Mrazek, no matter what Frank said.
Yeah.
If you want to say that Binnington had a bad 100-game stretch, Mrazek just had like 2 the worst seasons ever.
Yeah.
Not worth the squeeze.
You in on either of those Habs goalies?
Montembeault. It's actually really
but
good.
if you're the Habs, they're going to say no.
Yeah.
Why?
I think Montembeault's their guy.
Potential goalie of the future.
I think they want to
7.
Yeah, still, whatever.
I think they want to lose Campbell, or they'd give up Primo if someone paid him enough.
Allen. I think that's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
The reports have also been that the Oilers would rather obviously have Montembeault or Primo. Montembeaul's 5-on-5 numbers kind of insane.
Yeah.
Like his high, if I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm sure it was like a 966 at 5-on-5 or something.
But if Primo's having confidence issues because of mismanagement, we're just
don't bring him here.
We're gonna double down on those.
So I wrote about this on Oilers Nation. It's just kind of some cheaper options that could be realistic targets. Montembeault is 3rd in the league at 5-on-5 save percentage with a 949.
That's incredible.
Mm-hmm. You want to guess who's first? Jake can't guess.
So I got to guess. Who's the first in the league at 5-on-5 save percentage?
How
many minutes does he have?
He's only played 4 games.
Oh. We had him in the system.
Persois?
No.
Tyler Buns?
Dylan Wells?
He says Spruce Grove Jeep. Anthony Stolarz is a 966 this season at 5-on-5.
Could have had him.
They might still.
Shut up.
Why? Hey, we're like Frank couldn't even give us options for a goalie.
You want to put on 4 games of Stolarz?
No, I'm not saying right now. I'm saying like
maybe
if Spencer Knight can get back in the picture, they're gonna have to move him. He's $1.1 million until the end of the season.
That's a scratch ticket, which is kind of the game we need to play.
On Montembeault, there's only 3 other goalies in the league that have a better high danger save percentage than he does.
And we love
high danger.
Yeah, with the amount of minutes he's played. So it was like Swayman, Markstrom, and then someone else.
Like really Montembeault makes sense. I just can't see Montreal giving up on
Which one of these goalies plays 2-on-1s the best? Because that's what we're going to be facing all year.
$1 million.
The Naj says your best bet is Allen and hope he plays well. Oilers won't find a better option. Teams don't want to do him favors. I think that's a big. I think that's a big.
No, they have a better option on the same team. He is an option, so therefore he's better.
An option. I agree with you. I'm a Montembeault guy, but I just don't think it's gonna happen.
I was off the train.
His name.
I've done my research.
Everyone on the Finning Cat YouTube chat, you guys were great. I want to give you a reminder that today, November 20th, is the start of the Finning Black Friday sale. I'm on the website right now, finning.com/Black Friday, or you can scan the QR code at the top of your screen. Today's deals, Jay, you may need to make some calls, free up some funds. 25% off the amazing 300.9 and 2 units of the 301.5. I'll give you a picture. Look at those machines.
I actually could probably operate both of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Like legally, or just like you figure it out?
What do you mean legally?
Do you need a license for any of this stuff? No? Oh, okay, then you're good.
Yeah.
I think we could use one for around the office.
I always got some digging to do.
Every day this week, new deal dropping on finning.com/Black Friday. And then that deal stays up for a full 7 days. So keep it locked. Shout out to Finning and our friends at Finning Canada.
They got some sweet deals.
They do. Shout out to all our friends over in the YouTube chat today. We went long with today's episode of the show. We got to go do a new episode of the Real Life Podcast. Pre-game with Boardsy at 4.
I'm supposed to be on a call right now.
You are. It's 1:05. And then after the game, immediately following the game, ON After Dark. Subscribe to the YouTube because you won't want to miss any to it. Shout out to Frank Seravalli for stopping by. Yes.
ONR today too.
We might be doing an ONR after the game. Yes.
Woo.
We need to. We'll talk.
Big day.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Lots of content. Big content day here at Oilers Nation. Shout out to Frank. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Shout out to Sherwood for the Giant. It's been a Sherwood for Giant Game Day edition of the show, live from the Sports Closet studio. We'll see you again tomorrow, or at least Liam and Aaron will, at 12:01 Mountain.
Thank you for watching Oilers Nation Every Day. Hit the subscribe button to never miss a show. And for more, visit OilersNation.com.